Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, which is 10 AM in Australia or 1 AM if you're in the UK. If you miss the live streams though, you can catch up with the premiere event streams on a Friday and Saturday at 2 PM Pacific time in the US, which is 7 AM in Australia or 10 PM if you are in the UK. I hope all you guys and girls are well. Smithberry Barbecue, it's always good to see you, buddy. And Chag, it's good to see you too, Chag. How are you? How are you guys going? It is always good to see you guys. I can't win with this work going on around here. Every time I start to stream, they always start doing some work somewhere. Anyway, we will push through. Hopefully it won't be too annoying for you guys. Hopefully my music will drown it out a little bit. We had this problem yesterday. You guys know that they were doing some work next door on the shops. They finished that work and now somebody else is drilling something else in the apartment block here. I can't win. Anyway, so what are we doing? We're going to continue texturing up this Temple of the Winds you see here. We're going to be doing that in Substance Painter. Once we've done the texturing in Painter, I'm going to take a couple of the assets into Mari by the Foundry just to do an overpaint on. Just a couple, not all of them. And then we're going to take it into Eon View to do some beauty renders in a full-on 3D environment. That's the plan. And then once this project is finished, we're going to probably jump back into making the game The House in the Hollow. I did post in the Discord server yesterday the address for the website and also the trailer for the game. So if you want to check those out, jump on the Discord server. I popped a link in chat there. Anyone watching that isn't already a member, you can click that link and join the Discord server that way. Okay, well, let's keep going, shall we? Let's jump straight in. Let me select something so Max has something to lock on to. There we go. So yes, yesterday we were doing the urn here. And today we're going to continue working our way down the model. Let's start doing this fencing, I think. I think that's probably a good thing to do. Now I just got to try and work out what my color scheme I want to have happening here. I think it might be cool if we extend the gold a little bit toward the outside now of the temple. So what I'll probably end up doing is I'll make the railing sections a gold, just so that we can continue that theme out. I'll probably make the actual railings themselves a metallic white grey, and then for the decorative pieces here, we'll pick up the texture we used for the columns here, just to keep everything nice and consistent. We don't want to go mixing and matching too many different textures. It'll start to look a bit hodgepodgey otherwise. So that's the plan. So I guess what we should do is we should send these over to Substance Painter. Do remember though, if you've got any questions or anything you're not sure about, please feel free to pop into chat and ask me. If you just want to pop into chat and say hello, that is always welcome. But if all you want to do is watch, that is completely fine. So let's open up this plugin to send it to Substance Painter. It's going to complain, it always does, because I'm using a custom template. So I'm just going to cancel that and do it one more time. And it shouldn't complain, hopefully. There we go. It's complaining because I'm using a custom template, not the default template that the plugin was created for. And it's a permissions problem, an admin thing, an admin permissions problem in Windows. That's what it's complaining about. Doesn't affect using it apart from that little warning message we get at the beginning. So. Smurfberry says, so my new RAM arrived today. I'm running memtest on it now. Very good idea. Memtest tests your memory. Anyone that does not know what that program does. It's always a good idea if you're buying new RAM to run it through memtest for a few hours. If you can wait that long. just to make sure that there's no faults on the RAM. Nice. So you've got 24 gigs. Oh, that's so sweet, Smurf. Very sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. 24 gigs of RAM. Nice. Yeah, it's amazing just how quickly RAM sizes have gone up. Like, you know, back in the day, 4 gigabytes of memory was a lot. now we've got 24 gigabytes of memory. And or more, if you want more. Yeah. Games, I mean, some games now, they want you to have 8 gigabytes of memory in your computer to play a game, so 96% through the pass, 1 hour 53 minutes. It takes a while, but it really is worthwhile doing, because if the memory does have an error, like if the memory is faulty, it can really screw the operating system, and like you'll get blue screens and things happening, and you'll be tearing your hair out trying to work out what's going on. So doing a test before you actually start using the system proper is always a really good idea, but it does take a while, as you can see. An hour and 53 minutes so far, and he's 96% through. You can let it go overnight though, of course, too. Like, you install your RAM, in the evening, and then before you go to bed, start mem test running, and then when you get up, you can see if there's been any errors, if you don't want to sit there and wait. So how are you watching me, Smurfberry, if you're testing your memory? You want a different machine or something? So I'm assuming is this the memory for the notebook you were talking about yesterday? Oh, laptop, okay. So the memory you're testing now is on your desktop? Because yesterday you were talking about adding memory to your notebook, your laptop. So I'm confused. And you know it doesn't take much to confuse me, Smurfberry Barbecue. Just going to grab a quick drink. That's better. Okay, so the first thing we have to do here is we have to bake out our maps. We'll do it in 2K. This doesn't affect the textures we send to Max. This is just for me working in the viewport. Smurfberry says, I was contemplating getting RAM for both the desktop and the laptop. Corgo, thank you for following the channel, Corgo. I do appreciate it when you guys follow me on Twitch. So thank you, Corgo, or Corgoth. I should say it correctly, shouldn't I? The guys will tell you I'm terrible with usernames. Corgoth, thank you for the follow. Smurfberry says, I was contemplating getting RAM for both the desktop and laptop. I'll pull the trigger on the desktop RAM. I would do the same thing, actually, if I was you. If it was a choice between my laptop or my desktop, I'd always go for the desktop over the laptop. I find the laptops are really useful, convenient things to have. Like, you can sit on your couch and you can use your PC, or you can take it out and about with you. But I find a desktop to be much more useful as a working machine than a laptop. A laptop is just usually too underpowered. Even with the latest Intel processor or NVIDIA graphics card or whatever built into them, they're still not as powerful as a proper desktop PC. You can't upgrade them as much as you can a desktop, so a desktop's always better value that way. And I like a really big screen when I'm working, so even if I buy a 17-inch laptop screen or even a 19-inch, it's still not big enough. Not for productivity stuff that I have to do. So, Smurfberry says, haven't investigated how easy it would be to get the hidden DIMMs in the laptop. If it's easy enough, I might boost the laptop's RAM too. Yeah, Smurfberry is saying that two of the slots for the RAM for his laptop are actually hidden underneath the keyboard, so he's going to have to basically disassemble the entire back and front of the laptop to get to the slots of the RAM. Smurfberry says, laptop has my only NVIDIA GPU, so if I want to do CUDA anything, it must be the laptop. Well, you can always buy an NVIDIA GPU and put it in your desktop, dude. That's no excuse. I'm just going to use the low poly as the high poly here and bake out those maps. Yeah, because I think Smurfberry is an AMD person as far as graphics cards go. I think he might even have an AMD machine from memory, which I do as well. I have one of my PCs here is an AMD. The other two are an Intel. Smokebrew says CUDA isn't that important to me. Oh wow. Actually, CUDA used to be incredibly important years ago. Less so now. It's still used a lot. Like if you want to use reality capture, that photogrammetry software, you need an NVIDIA GPU because it needs CUDA. I found Photoshop and Premiere and all those programs, they tend to prefer an NVIDIA graphics card over an AMD one. They will run on an AMD card, don't get me wrong. But I've found less problems by running an NVIDIA card. But that's just me. I've always bought NVIDIA graphics cards. I don't generally buy AMD. I don't think I've ever bought an AMD graphics card, actually. I have bought their CPUs, but not the graphics cards. But if CUDA isn't that important to you, then hey, you have at AMD. And AMD are releasing their new graphics cards. Is it Navi? Or am I getting confused with the CPU? Anyway, they're due to come out soon. And don't forget too, Intel are getting into the graphics card market this year as well. So that'll be interesting. And a rumour that NVIDIA are going to do a refresh on the RTX line of graphics cards. So what did I say, guys? You know, what did I say a couple of months ago? Don't be surprised if they release a new range of their cards, because they'll take advantage of improvements in the processing of the CPUs and stuff, the process node, to use less power. And they're actually talking about increasing the memory bandwidth of the cards. That's why the main reason they're doing a refresh, or the rumour is that they're doing a refresh on the RTX graphics cards. So they're still going to use the same, I don't think they're increasing the speed of the chips or anything, the graphics chips, but they're going to, the rumour is they're going to increase the bandwidth of the memory. So they're going to take it up to 14 gigabits. Not sure what it is at the moment. I think it might be 12. Let us look at the smart materials, because I did create a smart material that we're using for the gold. So we might start with that, then we'll do an overpaint of some distressing. If I can find it, which is always a problem. Ah, here we go, rusty gold. That's the one we want. And again, this is a smart material, easy to create your own. We're going to start by jumping into the gold itself, and I want to reduce the height because it's too bumpy. So I'm going to start with the height information on the underlying layer. That's better, it's a bit smoother. Let's just check the height information on the gold itself. Oi, what you doing? I generally turn the height information off on overlying layers, because otherwise you start to get height information built on top of height information, and it can start to get out of control and a bit too bumpy. Smokebrew says, woot, ran past the test, time to start using it. I'll let MemTest do some additional passes when I go to sleep. That's a good idea. Like I said, do it when you're asleep. So yes, I turn the height information off on the gold, so that's fine. And then we have this dirt layer on top of that one as well. And I have the height information on that one turned off. So the height information is really only on the underlying rusty metal. But what I might do here is I might, because I created this smart material for a much smaller object, I'm just going to increase the scaling a little bit. I don't want to change those. No, I don't want to change those. Let's go back to the gold. I don't need to change the scale on the gold will be alright. But we do need to add a paint layer so we can start painting in our own distressing by hand. So let's switch to one of the dirt brushes. Good old dirt too. I love the Dirt 2 brush. So you should be all set with 24 gig of memory. That should see you right for doing photogrammetry and stuff for a while, Smurfberry. Photogrammetry is one of those things that really benefits from a lot of memory, depending on the program you're using. If you're using Agisoft Metascan or Photoscan as it used to be called, it likes a lot of memory. If you're using Bentley Context Capture, it likes a lot of memory as well. I've spoken about these before. I've done a stream devoted to the different bits of software in photogrammetry. Jump on my YouTube page if you want to see those streams. It's on YouTube. It's also on the video section of my Twitch page. Reality Capture, however, is one of the pieces of software that doesn't use as much memory as the other two, or as most photogrammetry software does, because it does a lot of processing on the GPU. So you can get away with less memory if you use Reality Capture, and it'll triangulate and process your photos faster too, because it does it on the GPU. The other software doesn't. So you sure hope so? Yeah, you should be good. Snowper says, I'm gonna be hella sad if I still choke after the upgrade. No, I think you should be good, as long as you don't go too nuts with the amount of photos you're trying to process. That's what I mean. The more photos, the bigger the photo set, the more memory it's going to want to use. So if you're running short on space if you're running out of memory and you can't afford to buy some more memory, then reduce the amount of photos that you're trying to get it to process. What you can do is you can process smaller sets of photos and then combine the final in one object, one model. So yeah, it's a lot more work, but if you don't have a choice, like you can't afford more RAM, then that's an option too. Just to reduce the amount of photo sets and then do a combination of all of the different pieces of the photogrammetry results. You can just merge them together into one model. So generally, yeah, unless you're running into the hundreds, like 500, if you're trying to do a 500 photo set of photogrammetry, that's when you can start running into a lot of problems with memory. We do have a seam. Oh, there we go. It's gone. Substance Painter. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I was about to say we do have a seam, but it disappeared. But if the seam does not disappear for you, then you can do an overpaint, a clone paint in Substance Painter to cover up the seam that way. Just hitting that edge here and there just to give it some wear and tear. We do have a soft edge, which is good. Soft edge on the model, that is, because I hate hard edges on anything. It looks really unnatural. You want to make sure that all of the edges on your models are chamfered. You might bring some down here and there in other spots just to increase the amount of wear on the gold. You know how, guys, I was having that problem with my pen here? Every time I restarted my machine, the Wacom service wasn't starting up. And I discovered the problem that what was causing that was I was running Malwarebytes. I generally run Malwarebytes on my machine all the time to make sure that I don't catch malware. And it was Malwarebytes that was actually stopping the service from starting up, so I've had to turn Malwarebytes off. I only run it manually now. So just letting you guys know, if you do use a Wacom tablet and you have Malwarebytes installed, it seems to cause a conflict with the service that needs to start up for the tablet. So since I've done that, I've had no problems. I do have a dirt layer here that I'm going to turn on after I finish doing this distressing, and that's just going to allow us to add a bit of variation in the color of the gold. And you know, some people that are used to Substance Painter might be thinking, why aren't you just using a smart mask to do this? Because there are smart masks that you can use to do edgeware. But I've spoken about this before. What I find, one of my criticisms of Substance Painter, even though I love the program, it's very good, is that everyone's stuff can start to look the same because everybody uses the same substances or materials, and everyone uses smart masks and all that sort of stuff, so everything starts to look the same. So I prefer to go in and do this sort of stuff by hand just to get the model to look a little bit more unique. Particularly if you're creating a portfolio of your work that you want to put online. So maybe you want to, you know, become a 3D artist or something, work for a studio. They're not going to be too impressed if all you're showing them is models that have been created by hitting a smart mask and throwing down a standard substance material. You know, hitting a couple of buttons is not being creative. You want to get in there and do it by hand. It's much more fun anyway. Just takes a bit longer. Smepery says, okay, here we go. I managed to build a 43.5 million point dense cloud on 12 gig of RAM, but then it choked on the mesh building step. Let's see what 24 gig does for me. Well, 43.5 million polys is quite a lot. Yeah, that is quite a lot. Are you masking out your what you're doing your photogrammetry on to try and reduce it a little bit? That every bit helps, Mercury, regardless of how much memory you've got. It'll just make the process much quicker as well to actually for the software to work out your triangulation and stuff. I believe Smepery, I know he uses Photoscan, and I think he's been trialing Alice Vision, which is free photogrammetry software that you can download. He's been trialing that as well, and the results of the free software were very good from what I saw. So don't think just because it's free it's not good. Smoker says, yes, 43.5 million points in the point cloud is after I masked and culled out the cloud. Wow. Well, you've either got a lot of photos in your photo set, or it's a very big object that you're trying to capture. Maybe. So yeah, masking out your photo sets helps the software to concentrate just on the thing you want to turn into a 3D model. It also helps to speed up the processing of the images and stuff. That's one of the things I do like about Photoscan or Metashape, I think they call it now, Agisoft software. They have really good tools for actually cleaning up your point cloud, which a lot of other software don't have. Yeah, so that's one big plus, I think, in Photoscan's favour, or Metashape, whatever they call it. It has really good tools to clean up your point clouds. Are we back at the beginning yet? No, almost though. Sniper Girl, it's good to see you. Sniper Girl says Metashape also does a good job in de-lighting. Yes, it does. And that's just basically evening out the colour on all of the photographs for the final texture that it puts together for the model. Yes, it does do a good job at that as well. And hi to you as well, Sniper Girl. It's good to see you. We will look at your wheel in 2 seconds. Let me just get this back to the beginning again, and we can check out the wheel that you posted on the Discord server. Because Sniper Girl is making, is it a hobo van? What are we calling it, Sniper Girl? What are you calling your van there? Post-apocalyptic hobo sort of van, or? I hate that word hobo. I think it's terrible. Smurfery says 113 photos, 24 megapixels, so 6,000 by 4,000 per photo. Yeah, 24 megapixels. That's right up there, Smurfery. So 6 by 4,000 pixels is, yeah, they're quite large photos. Sniper Girl says, main drawback with Metashape, though, is it takes forever. Yeah, it's probably not... Of all of the software that I reviewed in those three, when I did the stream on Photogrammetry, it is probably the slowest of them all. But then it's the cheapest of them all as well, so, you know, you can't really complain. Reality capture is the fastest that I've ever used, and that's because it uses the GPU to do the processing. I'm just keeping an eye on OBS because, you know, at least the drilling has stopped in the background. Thank God. It's just so... what's the word? I was going to say annoying, but it's even worse than... It's worse than annoying when you've got drilling going on in the background and you're trying to work. Because you guys know I work from home, so it gets to me. Gets to me. Apocalyptic van, I guess. Oh, there you go. Sniper Girl's calling it an apocalyptic van. Jump on the Discord server if you want to see the van that she created. She's still working on it. But I will show the wheel because she's been doing some low poly modelling of the wheel. Smithbury says the van needs a cool name like Rambleotron. Sniper Girl says, I wish I could work remotely. Would love that. Yeah, look, I'm very grateful. Not a lot of studios. Well, that's not so much true nowadays. It never used to be, though. They like you to go in, and I still have to go into the studio, so don't get the impression that they let me stay at home all the time. They don't. I still, generally 1 or 2 days of the week, I still need to head into the studio because I have meetings and stuff. So yeah, so I'm still required to go in, and I do have a desk in the studio, so. Because yeah, we have meetings with, where I have meetings with the rest of the management and sometimes clients, generally not though. I don't tend to do front-facing client stuff, which is my choice because I don't like talking with clients. Isn't that terrible? I've got better things to do than waste an hour or two talking to clients. So I leave that to the salespeople and to the directors, all the other management people. They can deal with the clients, those pesky clients, asking stupid questions. And mind you, I do my own contract work as well outside of the studio, so I have to deal with clients then. And I can't avoid it completely. Smurfberry says, oh God, it's pegging 22 to 23 gigabytes. So you're only using 110 photos though, didn't you say? 113 photos, my apologies. They are 24 megapixel. Photoscan, Metascan, it is a memory hog. It always has been. It does like a lot of memory. So that's one of the other reasons I switched. Even though I've got a decent amount of memory in my computer, that was the other reason I switched to reality capture, simply because it uses less memory and it's much faster. But it's not cheap. Not as expensive as context capture. I mean, that software is like 10 grand, but it's still more expensive than the others, reality capture. But again, Smurfberry, if you have to, then break the model up into sections. Like process a smaller set of... Either get the program to calculate a smaller area of the model and then combine it. So cut the model in half maybe and then combine the two together. You can do all of that inside of Photoscan, Metascan, the software. You can do it all in the software itself. So do it that way if you do run out of memory. I think that'd be quicker than, you know how Windows has a page file and it can use the page file as virtual memory. That's an option, but that's going to really slow down the processing if it's using your hard drive or your SSD as memory. It's always going to be faster, I think, to actually split the model and then combine the two together if you're running out of memory. Sniper Girl says, I would hate talking with clients. Yes, no, I do too. Just because, I don't know. People are stupid. I'm sorry, but people can be stupid. Clients particularly. They don't know what they want. When they get you to do a job, half of them don't know what they want. I find this even when I do private contracting stuff, like they approach you and they don't really know what they want, or they think they know what they want, but they can't sort of articulate it to you completely. And so it's like pulling teeth when you've got to try and work out exactly what they want. Because you don't want to do work for them and then present it to them for them to say, well, that's not what I wanted. Which a lot of them do because they don't tell you what they really want to begin with. I find that incredibly frustrating. So I try and avoid it anytime I can. And thankfully at the studio I don't have to deal with it. But because I do, like I said, my own private contract stuff with other people outside of the studio, I have to deal with it there. Sniper Girl says, I have a cool idea, but I don't exactly know what it is. That's right. You got to do one. That's exactly what it is. They say to you, oh yeah, I really would like to do this in a nebulous sort of way. They say, I want to do this. They don't give you any sort of specifics as to exactly what they mean by this. Yeah. And then they get shirky and narky when you present something to them and they say, that's not what I wanted. You're not listening to me. Well, you're not explaining yourself properly to begin with. It's not that I'm not listening. You're not explaining what you want. That's generally why I give people, when I do contract work, I give them like 3 revisions, so that we can get it right by the 3rd one. Because I know that the first revision is they're going to say, that's not what I wanted. The second revision, they're going to say, oh, that's sort of like what I wanted, but can you do this? And then by the 3rd revision, we've generally got it down pat. But I put all of that in the contract at the very beginning. The number of revisions. If you don't do that, you're going to be stuck working with this client forever before they'll pay you because you haven't specifically said to them, you get this many goes at telling me what you want. So if you're going to do contract work, guys and girls, I advise you to if you're going to do commission work, that's the word, for people, make sure you put it in your contract how many revisions you will give them. Otherwise, you're just going to set yourself up for problems. Android Lust, it's good to see you, Android Lust. How are you? I hope you're well. I'm doing good. Sniper Girl says doing well. Smokery says add revision clauses. Yeah, that's what I do. When in the contract, the commission work I do, they have to sign a contract. I tell them exactly when I expect the project will be completed by. Making sure I put in the contract that this is not a set date that it will be delivered by, unless I really need to. Like some clients insist on it. Generally try and avoid giving them a set date, because you never know what problems you're going to run into in creating something for someone, whether it's a 3D model or if I'm doing some video work for them, some editing stuff. You just never know what problems you might run into or how long it's exactly going to take you. So you try and avoid putting a set date in the contract. That's number one. Number two, you always make sure you stipulate how many revisions you're going to allow them to have. You don't leave it open-ended, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with them forever. You also make sure everyone does their contract work differently, but I always ask for at least half payment upfront before I start doing any work. So I won't start a commission until I have half of that payment upfront. That's just to cover myself, because you'll find some clients won't want to pay you. So yeah, make sure you get part payment up front, and I ask for half payment up front. What else? And then I ask for I ask for half payment up front, and then at the first deliverable, I ask for another 25% payment of the remaining 50%, and then I ask for the final 25% once I've delivered the final finished product. So I sort of stagger it that way. I'm just trying to work out. I don't like this repeating pattern I'm seeing here. That dirt pattern there, that dirt pattern there, and that's in the underlying texture. So I'm just going to turn this one off and jump back down to this one. I'm just going to play with the offset and see if we can hide it. It's because we're using a tiling texture. I will check your wheel out in 2 seconds, Sniper Girl, as well. I just, like I said, want to try and hide that. There we go. That's better. There's one there. Oh, yeah, we're getting a few happening here. All right. The other thing we can do is we can reduce the scale, because it is an underlying substance, an underlying material. We could probably reduce the scale to hide it that way. And now we have it down here. Let's see if we can play with the offset. Let's turn the gold paint back on and see if that's hidden it. That should be good. We are good. Let's check out Sniper Girl's wheel. Sounds funny, doesn't it? So, this is an image. I'll load the 3 images up you posted in Discord, Sniper Girl, and we can check them out one by one. Anyone new to my channel can go to my website, phildoes3d.com, and you can read up about me there, if you're so inclined. And let's look at the next image, and then I'll come back to them after I've loaded them all in. And then the final render, which looks very sweet. Sweet as in cool. Let me just zoom in on these. Yeah, I do. I like them very much. I liked the design of this when you created it, when you first showed it to me. I thought it looked really cool. The spikes you've got coming out from the wheel frames here, I always thought that looked really cool. And I love the distressing you put in as well to make it look beaten up, which it would be, you know, if it hits anything, it's going to get knocked about. So I love all of that. I think you've done a great job. It looks really good. And I've mentioned this before, but I really like the welding lines and stuff you put in as well. All these little details really help to sell the believability of the model. It's very cool. That was your idea, Smurfberry? Well, there you go. It does. It's a great idea. Having the welding lines, it really helps to sell the model. And the distressing as well, the damage on the actual the blades. It's looking very nice, Sniper Girl. I almost said Smurfberry Barbecue. I get the S's all mixed up. Smurfberry Barbecue, Sniper Girl, Sniper Echo. Too many S's. I like the topology, nice clean edge loops. Yep, and the model looks great. Love it, love it, love it. The distressing, not the welds. Oh, okay. Well, whose ever idea it was, it doesn't matter. The final result is what matters, and it looks great. Android Lust said, what was your inspiration for the blades? Yeah, I wanted that too, because they're very cool. Very cool. Sniper Girl says, yeah, the distressing was your idea. I ended up sculpting the heck out of everything, which is cool. It's good. It makes, you know, that extra step of sculpting stuff up really helps to sell the model. And I love the welding. I think the welding is inspiring. Putting the actual weld, sculpting in the weld, I think that's great. Sniper Girl says, Roman chariots, they have blades on their wheels sometimes. Ah, okay. Very clever. It does, and it looks very effective. The van is going to look super mega awesome when you've done with it. You put a lot of work into it too. Like, you've been doing a lot of work on the van, so we are expecting good things, Sniper Girl. I'm sure it's going to look amazing. Okay, you guys and girls, like I said, jump on the Discord server if you want to check out the other work that Sniper Girl has done on the van, because she's posted in the gallery. And you guys and girls can as well. If you want to post work that you're doing in the gallery on the Discord server, go right ahead. If you have an art station or a website or a portfolio that you want to promote, you can also do that on the Discord server under the folios and demo reels chat. Don't post it in general chat, post it in the right section. But you're welcome to do that. Sniper Girl says, and there were other primitive cultures that did similar things as well. It's been a pain. Oh, I'm sure you've enjoyed it, haven't you? You've enjoyed making the van, Sniper Girl? Come on. Smurfberry says, those blades make going through the drive-through window a little tedious. Yes, if you're driving through the drive-through at McDonald's or something, you're gonna have a bad day. Let's start distressing the bottom edge. Android Lost says, that's interesting. I would never have thought of chariots. No, I wouldn't have either. Let me jump back into my paint layer. There we go. Just going to pull back. Let's do a bit of a rotation. I just want to get this into a position where I can see what I'm painting a little bit more easily. Sniper Girl says, been a love-hate relationship. We all feel that way about the stuff we work on at some stage or another. Sniper Girl says, going to get something to eat real quick. Won't be gone long. Will you go get something to eat, Sniper Girl? We'll still be here waiting for you, don't worry. We ain't going nowhere. I'm going to have chili, I think, for lunch today after the stream. Because I love me some chili. Love me some chili. Sniper Girl says, Smurfberry says that's some tasty wear painting on that ring. Thank you, Smurfberry. That's what I aim for. I aim for the tasty wear. Yeah, I want to knock back a bit of the gold on this because even though I do want to, I want to extend the gold on the temple because we have a lot in the middle and I want to bring it out to the edges. I don't want it to be too overbearing, so I don't want a huge amount of, I don't want brand spanking new gold railings. I want them to look really beaten up and old. So I'm removing a lot of the gold. Because otherwise they're just going to be too overpowering for the model. Android Lost says, you eat chili? I do, I love chili. Love the chili. Love it. I love any spicy food. I've always liked spicy food. I like Indian food. Thai. Thai is not generally too spicy, but and chili. Love chili. Love it, love it, love it. It's good too if you want to lose weight. It sort of raises your metabolism a little bit, so it helps your body to burn fat. Not that I'm fat or anything, but I used to be. So I used to eat a lot. I got into eating chili when I was trying to lose weight, when I was really, really big, when I was a little butterball. And it's stuck with me ever since, and I love hot food, so. You can't go wrong with chili. And the beans are good for you as well. They help keep you regular. Smurfberry says, we make chili in big batches and freeze it. And that's the other good thing too about chili. That's a good idea, Smurfberry. Yeah, you can make it up, a large batch of it up and then put it in the freezer. And just reheat it in the microwave. It's one of those foods that that stores really well. Although I've got a craving for beef stroganoff actually, I've come to think of it now. I'll do chili today because beef stroganoff takes me a little bit longer to make up than chili does. But I do have a craving for beef stroganoff. I really like the sour cream, the mix of the sour cream with the meat. It's just so interesting and unusual. So beef stroganoff's another favourite of mine. I still remember you talking about that chili that you were cooking up very months ago with veal. That sounded beautiful. I generally do mine with beef, but veal sounded very nice. I guess being an ex-chef, you know, I don't mind cooking for myself. A lot of people don't like to cook, and I don't want to do it for a living again, but I like cooking for friends and for myself. I don't mind that. Just cooking in a restaurant, that was a nightmare. Simply because the hours were really bad and, like, you know, I used to work till 2 in the morning, even though I still do that now. But it's being stuck in a hot kitchen on a hot day, all that sort of stuff, wasn't pleasant. I'm actually putting more of this distressing along the bottom edge here because water will have dripped from the top to the bottom, so it will have taken a lot of the gold off of the bottom edge. Smurfberry says, does it haunt you at night? Does the veal dance through your dreams like a wood sprite that you can never catch? And do you wake up in a cold sweat realizing that the tantalizing chili will forever elude you? It does, Smurfberry, it does. It keeps me awake at night. I constantly fantasize and dream about the chili, the veal chili. It did sound very nice. I could never become vegetarian, I'm afraid. I like meat way too much. I know it's terrible for the planet. Being vegan is much better for the planet, but I just can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Again, let me get this into a position where I can paint on it a little bit more easily. We have a general election. I've got to go and vote in, how many days is it now? In 4 days. 4 days, and we have to vote for a new Prime Minister in this country. Let's hope the right one wins, shall we? Fingers crossed. Thankfully, I don't have to go very far to vote. It's just sort of down the road from where I live, so. And I still haven't seen the new Avengers Part 2. I must go and see that actually too. I might take a day of work, off work, and go and see it. Because I'm keen to see what happened at the end. So no spoilers. I still haven't seen Alita either. I want to see that as well. I'm just keeping an eye on OBS. Everything's good. We're all on the green. No problem streaming. I really think, yeah, the problem, like I said last week, was the Twitch. I wasn't connecting up to the server in Sydney. For some reason, I was being sent all the way to LA. I don't know why. The only thing I can put it down to, like I said, was either the Twitch server in Sydney was down, or my ISP had routing issues going from Melbourne here over to the US. Or to Sydney, I should say, routing issues to Sydney. Because unlike you guys in the US, if you're a streamer, you've got many, many different servers you can choose from in the US to stream to. In Australia, we've only got one, and that's in Sydney. I wish that Twitch would put one in Melbourne. Having one in Melbourne would be a good idea, I think, because Melbourne's a big city as well. It's as big as Sydney. It's actually bigger, I think. So, as far as population goes, I think Melbourne is bigger than Sydney now. So we want our own server. Come on, Twitch, give us our own server in Melbourne. You've got an Amazon warehouse here now, so set up a Twitch server. Murphy says Alita's probably out on disc by now. You're probably right. Probably is. I'll probably buy it then. I haven't seen it advertised on TV as being in the cinemas. I missed that cinema release. So it'd probably be a good movie to buy on Blu-ray or something anyway, or just buy on one of those streaming services that you can, because discs are so old-fashioned. No one uses discs anymore. Everything is direct digital download now, which is good. I like it. I don't even have a burner in my computer anymore, a disc reader, whether it's Blu-ray or DVD. It's amazing how quick technology changes from what used to be in every PC is now virtually in none. Some people still have burners, I know, but they can generally people will use them for a backup and stuff, but I use hard drives to back up now. It's easier and quicker. Because hard drives have come pretty cheap as well. Multi-terabyte hard drives are much cheaper than they used to be. Android Lust says burners are so last decade. They are. I agree, Android Lust. They are so last decade. Physical media is so last decade. And so it always amuses me when, because, records, the actual old records that used to put on record players with a needle thing, they hadn't made a resurgence. The retro crowd really like records. I don't know why. They skip. You can scratch them. They're terrible. I much prefer digital music than something on a record. They think it gives better sound quality. I disagree. I think they're just deluding themselves personally. But hey, you do what you want to do. You buy what you want to buy, and you listen to what you want to listen to. Mesh is almost done, Smepper says. Cool. So is it still staying within the 24 gigabyte memory limit? Android Lost says vinyls. Vinyls, I never understood why. Maybe it's the audiophile thing. Yeah, I that's what they say. Vinyl, thank you, that is the word. They say it gives better sound quality than digital or a DVD or a disc or a CD-ROM. I personally can't hear the difference. I mean, I buy good quality headphones because I like to make sure that what I listen to is good quality. But even with good quality headphones, I can't tell the difference. It sounds the same to me. And like I said, you don't have the problem if you do it digitally of having to accidentally scratching the record, which is so easily done with vinyl. It's easy to scratch a record, like you jump in front of the player and the needle skips, and that can scratch the record. So, and then it's ruined. You don't have that problem with digital. You can jump around as much as you want without fear of destroying it. But like I said, far be it for me to tell people how they should listen to their music or what they should listen to it on.
Stop hitting me.
I think we're almost back to the beginning. I think. It takes a long time to do this distressing work. Android Lost says, reminds me of when I had a CD player. I used to hate it until the anti-skip feature kicks in. Yeah, it used to amuse me because you remember how you used to be able to get those portable CD-ROM players, and people used to wear them when they went jogging. They'd be jogging along and all of a sudden their music would start skipping because, jumping up and down with a spinning disc, they never really go together really well. That's why I love, all my music is on my phone now. I listen to everything if I'm out and about on my phone, like most people do now, I'm assuming. Now that iPods and stuff are, again, old-fashioned and old hat, everyone listens to music on their phone. A lot of people stream music, like from Spotify and stuff. I don't do that. Not that there's anything wrong with streaming music. I mean, it's a cheap way to get music. But I like to own my stuff. It's like the software that I use. I hate the rental model. I like to own my things. I don't want to rent my things. So I tend to buy music and then put it on my phone, as opposed to streaming it. That and the fact too that if I'm ever in an area where I don't have a connection to a network, which does happen in Australia because it's a very big country, having the music on my phone means I've always got something to listen to. If I was streaming music from like Spotify and I didn't have a connection, then I'd be in trouble. And you guys know, they send me out to the middle of nowhere for work, to those mines in the middle of the desert in Australia. There's no cell coverage out there, so I can't listen to stream Spotify music out there. Smeppery says, I'm pretty sure it's hitting the page file. Probably is, and that will slow it down quite a bit. Like I said, I think it would actually be quicker to actually break the model in half and do it in two halves than wait for because when it hits the page file, it is really going to slow the whole process right down. ICMZ, hey, it's good to see you, buddy. Android Lost says it was the Dark Ages. I had to choose, 15 to 17 songs I wanted to listen to per week on a bus ride. We're talking about the Dark Ages of audio, ICMZ. That we are. We're talking about how things have changed from vinyl records now to streaming music. Okay, what's going on? There it is. There's my brush. There we go. And I know that we were talking about how vinyl has made a comeback. Like the retro crowd really like vinyl, listening to music on vinyl. They say it gives a better sound quality. I'm saying I don't think it does personally, but to each their own. Andrew Luss says, yeah, the Dark Ages of audio, Dark Ages of tech, really. Smurfberry says, I had a portable CD player with 45 seconds of anti-skip buffer, and I lauded that over my friends who only had 20 seconds. You're one of those friends that everyone hates, loves to hate, aren't you, Smurfberry? It's finally decimating the mesh, good to hear. Well, that means it'll start freeing up memory once it's doing the decimation stage. It will start reducing its memory usage. Again, I'm just going around the edges here, just making sure we remove any or some of the gold paint from the edge, because that's where it will wear. Android Lost says, I think I had a 45-second one too, so there you go, Smurfberry Barbecue. I don't remember mine. I did have a portable CD player, but I can't remember how long my anti-skip was for. But I say thank God for mobile phones now with lots of memory, so we can store all of our music on there, which is what I do. Android Lost says, my first MP3 player was a 2 gig player, I believe. I thought it was the best device ever. I think I might have had a 1 gig one. And I thought that was the bee's knees. Because MP3, an MP3 can be reduced in size quite dramatically, to quite a lower size. I generally use FLAC now. If I'm actually if I'm putting music on my phone, I generally use the FLAC format, simply because it's less compression than MP3. But MP3 still does a good job if you do want to save some room. Smurfberry says, holy freaking hell, the full resolution message generated was 101 million triangles. No wonder it's using all your memory, Smurfberry. That's why you're running out of memory. 101 million is quite a few. Quite a few. Android Lost says it might have been 1 gig. Mine was 1 gig. I remember mine, it was 1 gigabyte. My first music player, digital music player. In fact, I still think I've got it in a cupboard somewhere because, like I say to you guys, I can't throw anything away, particularly when it comes to tech. I don't know, even though it's really, you'll never use it again. I just tend to hoard all my old technology in storage. So it's not great. I guess it prevents it going into landfill, so that's something. Or being, sent off to places, or I was going to say China, but China don't take any waste anymore, do they? Maybe places like Africa where they disassemble computer electronics, and it's really bad for them because of all the poisonous stuff that is in electronics that they're pulling apart. It's not a good thing, good line of work for them to be doing, but I mean, they've got no choice, I guess. I'm talking about all those places in places like Africa where they pull electronics apart to recycle it, to get the gold out of it and all that sort of stuff. Smoker says, okay, here's a rhetorical question. Why don't they just build the mesh at the target resolution instead of building an Uber mesh and then decimating it down to the target resolution? I guess so that the mesh has the best quality, keeps the most detail when it is after it is decimated. I'm assuming the algorithm they're using to actually look at the photographs and then convert those into a mesh to keep the most quality for the final decimated mesh. They do it that way. Sometimes I won't decimate the mesh inside of the photogrammetry software. I'll actually take the high-res mesh into like 3D Studio Max, and I'll do my decimation there, because I like to have more control over the decimation than letting the program do it automatically. Android Lust says you can donate them to a museum. I guess so. I don't think I've got anything a museum would really want though. Ido, it's good to see you, Ido. How are you? It's Ido, and it certainly is. It's good to see you, Ido. Hope you're well. We're talking about old technology and music and stuff. Like back in the day, we were talking about portable CD players and things like that. And of course, no one has a CD burner in their machine anymore. Most people don't, because CDs are so old-fashioned. Everything is digital, and that's a good thing. Okay, we do have a bit of a repeating pattern happening on the inside here, but that's okay. We can hide some of them by painting over them with distressing, and because it's on the inside ring, I don't think people are going to notice it. ICMC says, yeah, no optical drive on my machine. No, none on my machines either. No optical drives. If I want to transfer anything, I'll either do it via the network or I'll put it on a USB and do it that way. Or a portable hard drive even. Portable USB hard drive or SSD. Because USB drives are so cheap now as well. We were talking about how cheap memory is. Memory has gotten cheaper actually, but how cheap hard drive prices have become. And SSD prices have come down a lot too. It's so much faster to transfer files onto a USB than to ever try and burn them onto a disk. Because disks are really slow. Edo says, I remember you could play videos on YouTube without the app being on screen. This was back when the logo was a TV. Okay. Sniper Girl says, I have a Blu-ray burner on my computer, never use it. I'm not sure if it's hooked up. Yeah. No one uses them anymore. Physical media like DVDs and CD-ROMs and Blu-rays, it's old-fashioned. I mean, there's talk that Microsoft's next console won't even have a DVD drive in it or a burner in it. A player, like a disc player in it. It's all going to be digital download. Sony always will, of course, because Sony own the rights to the Blu-ray thingy, so they're not going to cut off their nose to spite their face and not include a disc in their PS5. But yeah, there is talk of the next Xbox not having being discless. So there you go. If it's good enough for Microsoft, it's cheaper for them too, of course. That's the other reason they're thinking about going discless, because they can make the console cheaper. Well, that's one of the other reasons. And they're talking about releasing those two new consoles in 2020, so not long to go. Not that any of us would play on a console. A PC master race, not console peasants. Sniper Girl says, I think for a console not to have a disk drive would be a mistake. Well, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying that's what the rumor is. Mostly due to many places in the US doesn't have a decent internet. And that's a real factor too, isn't it, for you guys that are deployed overseas if you're in the service. You don't have a connection to the internet. So I know that when Microsoft tried to make it so that so you had to be online to play your games, that was a big issue for the guys and girls on the service. So they were saying that a lot of places they're deployed to, they don't have a connection. So how are they supposed to play their console games in their downtime if it requires a net connection to play? Sniper Girl says, yeah, PC. Android Lust says, wouldn't a diskless console destroy GameStop? I don't think Microsoft cares about GameStop personally. I think Microsoft would like to stop. I know that publishers would love to stop the secondhand games trade. But you're probably right, Android Lust. Edo says, rest in peace people that buy gaming laptops. Yeah, I wouldn't game on a laptop either. ICMZ says, I remember before USB drives, there were zip drives, and I remember having one, and they were expensive. Yeah, they were. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, zip drives. USB drives used to be expensive as well. Like, they never used to be very big, and they used to be really expensive, but they're really cheap now. Wait long enough and everything gets cheap as far as technology goes. So we'll see. We'll see if they end up removing the drive from the Xbox and Xbox. Maybe they'll release two versions of an Xbox, like one that's diskless and one that's like the normal one that has a drive. Maybe they'll do that. Sniper Girl says, yeah, was one of those people at the time when the Xbox revolt happened over the always online. I was in the military. Yeah, I thought, because I do remember reading articles. I do remember reading articles online where they were talking about, the service peak guys and girls were talking about how bad it was for them because, yeah, they're deployed, they don't have access to a net connection, so they can't play their games if it's always on, if that is one of the requirements. And of course Microsoft backtracked pretty quickly and changed their mind. I think, wasn't it Phil Spencer? Wasn't he the guy at Microsoft that was in charge of all of that sort of stuff at the time? Isn't he in charge of the gaming stuff at Microsoft? I could be wrong. I don't keep up with Microsoft's employees. Edo says floppy disk reader. Wow, floppy. I have an old floppy disk reader upstairs. You know, one that you slide into a desktop, 3.5 inch. I have one of those upstairs in the cupboard with all my old other old stuff. So yes, I even have an old 3.5 inch floppy reader. It's never used. Because why would you? Well, I mean, wow. What was it, 1.44 megabytes or something on a floppy disk? Wow. So much space to store so much stuff. Android Lost says, I used to use floppy disks in school. It was so dumb. Sniper Girl says, used floppy disks in the Navy. Mind you, was in the Navy from 07 to 012, to 12. Edo says, kids these days don't know what a VCR is. That's exactly right, Edo. The kids these days, they don't know how lucky they got it. Old VCRs where the tapes would jam or eat themselves or, you know, or break. The tape would break. Fast forwarding and rewinding through a movie was a nightmare because, you know, it was a tape-based system, so it took forever. Not like today with digital where you can just jump back and forward throughout the video whenever you want. Kids today have got it easy. Sniper Girl says they ended up getting new computers on the ships that had floppy disks. I find that incredible. Any modern, particularly military, because I mean, you know, governments throw money at the military. They can spend as much money as they want. At least in this country they can. The government here, they just throw money at the military for the military to buy the latest equipment and stuff. Because, you know, it's the defence. It's important. So that amazes me that they buy computers with floppy disks. Even back then. Andrew Loss says, rest in peace, Blockbuster. Well, that's right. You remember what happened to Blockbuster Video. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. Anytime you're creating a business that's tied to the technology sector, you've got to be mega on the ball because tech changes so quickly, so often. You just got to look at how quickly graphics cards are updated and CPUs. I mean, tech changes so much, so quick. It's one of the industries that if you don't stay on top of everything, you're going to be out of a job. And look at Blockbuster is a good example of that. They didn't sort of move with the times and failed because no one used VCRs anymore. And the streaming services, I think they're beating into a lot of businesses that used to do that sort of stuff as well because everybody streams stuff now from like Amazon Video or Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And soon to be Disney opening up their own streaming service as well, which is a bit annoying actually because I'd consider subscribing to that, but it's not available to us in Australia yet. It's only available to you guys in the US. Same with everything. Everything comes to the United States and then the rest of us have got to wait for it. Smurpery says, I once used Sound Recorder to split several songs into 1.44 megabyte wave chunks to get them off of a computer and then reassembled them into a target computer back into full size. That does sound like a nightmare. Smurpery says, because the USB ports on the source computer were defective. Actually, one of my PCs here, my AMD machine. No, actually, it's my Intel machine. I tell a lie. I'm getting confused. Two of the USB ports, two of the AS Media, which are the add-on USB ports, not the built-in ones that come with the Intel, have stopped working. It's a bit annoying. So, I'm suffering with that at the moment. Two of my USB 2 ports. No, the USB 3 ports, actually. AS Media USB 3 ports. They just stopped working. Mind you, the machine is like quite old. That's got my 2600K in it, the Intel 2600K, so it's like 6 or 7 years old. So I can't complain. I can, but I won't. ICMZ says Blockbuster is around for like 20 years. Yeah, they were around for a very long time. Sniper Girl says, yeah, now 4.0 is coming out. Yeah, I did read about that. USB 4 is the next thing. I think that's 20 gigabits a second transfer speed as opposed to USB 3.1, which is 10 gigabits a second. USB 3 is like 5 gigabits a second. I have to say, I don't really think I need faster transfers. I use an external hard drive, USB 3 hard drive, to do my backups, and it does it pretty quickly. 5 gigabits a second is pretty fast. That's not real world, of course. That's the theoretical speed. Real world speed is nowhere near that fast, but it still does it pretty quickly. So I keep hitting the button on the side of my pen. Edo says, rest in peace, when I go to Canada, I can't use my Hulu. Oh, really? Smurfrey says, Disney owns Hulu now. Yeah, I did read that. I've never actually watched Hulu. I've never subscribed to Hulu. Actually, I don't even think Hulu is officially available in this country. If you want to watch it from Australia, you've got to use a VPN, I think. Edo says, I think I'm going to upgrade my case. That's a good thing to do. Particularly with warmer weather coming for you guys in Europe and the US. A case upgrade is always a good idea to allow more airflow through in the warmer weather. Allows you to overclock if you're into that sort of thing. I don't overclock any of my stuff. But I know a lot of people like to. Smurpery says, I've heard that they're going to bollocks up the USB naming convention when 4 comes out. They've already bollocksed it up. The naming convention for USB 3 is a nightmare because there's 2 versions of USB 3.1. There's 3.1 Gen 1 and 3.1 Gen 2. 3 and 3.1 are pretty much the same thing. They're 5 gigahertz a second transfer. 3.1 Gen 2 is the 10 gigahertz a second transfer one, which is also USB-C, which is what's used on mobile phones now. I have a USB-C port on my new machine here. I think that's 10 gigabytes as well. It is, it's a nightmare. There's way too many names. They've really got to get their act together. Get it together, USB consortium. It's just turning into a nightmare. ICMZ says, yeah, I used an SSD drive for the portable use and it's fast enough. Unless you some kind of spy trying to transfer files. It is, they're fast enough. If you use an external SSD and you want to transfer files, it's fast enough. Unless you're transferring mega huge files. Like I regularly transfer stuff for work onto a portable SSD because you guys know I work at home. I do actually VPN into the studio's computer, so I transfer stuff that way too. But occasionally I'll put stuff on an SSD, a portable SSD drive, and I work with files that can be anywhere from 4 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes in size, and they transfer over really quick. So I've never had a problem. I'm not going to be too precious with this inside edge. Again, it's probably something most people are never going to see in their renders because it's on the inside edge of the pond. But I will just go over it quickly just to keep everything nice and consistent without texturing. But like I said, I'm not going to be too precious about it. I'm just going to do it quick. The inside edges, that is. Snappy Girl says, wow, wanted to see what the plough and wheel guard look like on the van. Looks great. Can't wait to see it when the plates and everything else are on it. Ah, nice. And she has posted a picture on the Discord server. Let me just check Discord here. I want to make sure I caught up with all my messages. I don't want anyone to think I'm ignoring them. So yes, don't think if you put a message on Discord I won't see it, because it is open the whole time I am streaming on Twitch. I have both Twitch chat and Discord open at the same time. So yes, if you want to post on Discord, I will see it. I'll check out the van in 2 seconds, Sniper Girl. I really want to get this this railing done. We'll check it out soon. But you guys, jump on the Discord server if you don't want to wait for me. You can check out the van there. And I will show it as soon as I finish texturing up to the railing. Because I'd like to have something completed by the end of the stream. I'm not blaming you guys. It's fine. I love looking at the stuff you guys make. But I think some people who watch my stream might get a bit frustrated with me because I tend to be a bit of a motor mouth and don't get a lot of work done. And I say bugger off to you people because it's my stream, and if I don't, I'll do what I want, as Cartman would say. ICMZ says, yes, it's okay, you can blame us. Sniper Girl says, for the van going to create damaged decals, we'll use them wherever needed on the vehicle. Damaged decals will look really cool. I don't mind you guys distracting me, and that's why I say I don't care. It's fine. That's why I'm on Twitch. I'm on Twitch to encourage you guys to do 3D stuff because it's cool, it's fun, and I think you guys who don't do it would really enjoy it. So I want you guys to do 3D. And I love looking at the stuff you guys are making, and I love chatting to you guys. That's what I enjoy about Twitch, is actually chatting to you. So I don't have a problem with that. All it means is it takes me a little bit longer to get to to get anything made, but that's fine. But I'm keen to see what this gold railing will look like because I have to imagine what I want the model to be textured up to look like. But so until I actually get the texture sitting there to see if it blends correctly, I don't really know if it's going to work or not. I mean, I have a general idea. I can imagine pretty well, like my mind's eye. I can see what it's going to look like pretty well, but you don't know for sure, like I said, until it's actually in the model on the actual object. It's not your fault. It's not any of your fault. If it's anyone's fault, it's my fault, guys. But that's okay. We're not in a rush. I'm not under a deadline. It's all good. It really doesn't matter. That's why, when I do stuff for work, which I can't stream anyway because because I've signed contracts not being able to stream or talk about it. Where I am under a deadline. That's why one of the reasons I don't stream on Twitch, because I can't, and number two, I can't be distracted because I really need to get that stuff done. That's the reason anyone that's wondering why I only stream 2 days a week on Twitch. It's because I have this all other stuff that I have to do for the studio. That the only time I can really do it is 2 days a week, I'm afraid. At least at the moment. They work me too hard at the studio. That's not true. They're very good to me. So when I do stream on Twitch, I'm happy to take my time because it's a breath of fresh air not having to rush stuff to get stuff done under a deadline. I can enjoy myself and I can talk to you guys and chill. Okay, that should be good for that one. Andrew Loss says, "Hey, soon you're going to need to make a character for that band." Yeah, you will. And ICMZ says, "I hear you on that, Phil. I've been wanting to get back on my old projects, but sadly under contract, not allowed to work on anything new at the moment. I don't think it would be that bad, but I was wrong. I didn't think it would be that bad, but I was wrong." Hambone, it's good to see you, Hambone. How are ya? Haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. How's the programming stuff coming? Been doing anything? But it's good to see you, Hambone. You should jump on the Discord server, Hambone. I'm good, and I wouldn't call myself a handsome devil either, but anyway. You blind, dude? Are you blind? You're calling this handsome? Come on. I mentioned yesterday, Hambone, about the game that we're going to be making, the House on the Hollow. You can jump on the Discord server. I think you remember on there. I think you are. You can check out the new website for the game, and you can also check out the trailer for the game as well. I posted links to the website in general chat and links to the trailer in the gallery section. I'm just saying that because Hambone said he would like to have bought the game if it was going to be a game, which it wasn't at the time because it was only going to be a cinematic. No, I'm not, Hambone, you're blind. Hambone says, jumping on now? Yeah, check them out on the Discord server. Yeah, in general chat you can find a link to the website for the game. It's not made yet, we're still only halfway through making it, but I did create the trailer for the game as well in the gallery. I put a link in the gallery section. Yes, there's a trailer. Look under the gallery section for the trailer. It'll be above the posts here of our Sniper Girls van. The House on the Hollow trailer, you can check it out there. Well, thank you, Hambone. Even though you don't know what sort of job I'm going to be doing for it, I'm glad to get the vote of a buy from you. It'll be on Steam and also on the Epic Games store when it's finished, which is going to be, a while because I'm only halfway through making it. And that's the project we're going to be doing after I finish this model we're doing now. Computer was lagging, Sniper Girl? Well, that's no good. That's no good at all. Well, good that you're back. I'm just going to quickly go through the bottom railing here. What's the time? I've got about half an hour to get this done so I can get it back on the model. Cool, you found it, Hambone. Good to hear. Sniper Girl says, still will be glad helping you. Just need to finish the van first. Really want to see it done. No problem. It's still going to be a few weeks for me to finish this model anyway, because after we're finished texturing it up, I've got to take it into Eon View to do beauty renders. So this model won't be completed for a few weeks at least. Probably longer. You guys know me. So we're not going to be jumping back into it then straight. And even when we do jump back into creating the game, There are other areas I can be working on apart from optimization. I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle the what's the word I'm looking for? My workflow as far as what I'm creating, when I'm creating it, that sort of thing for the game. Whether we're going to jump into creating a new area, or we're going to do some optimization, or what yet. I really don't know. I haven't had a lot of time to think about it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, when we start working back on the game again. Or when we start working on the game, because it was a cinematic. It was never meant to be a game. Yes, and the trailer video is up to 4K. You can watch it in 4K if you're so inclined on YouTube. It's actually only on YouTube. I am going to upload it to my Twitch page here as well, to my Twitch channel under the videos. I'll probably end up doing that today after the stream. So at the moment it's only on YouTube. It looks wild. The Handbone says that looks wild. Looks like a team of 100 people worked on it. Oh, that's sweet, Handbone. Thank you. Sniper Girl says, that's good. Shouldn't take me too long to get the band done. Good to hear. I have the low already made for the roll cage. Need to do the plates and the window guard and a bunch of other lows now I think of it. There's always stuff you've forgotten. I'm glad you like it, Handbone. I wanted to add some... I wanted to make it, so give it a creepy vibe, so I chose... I laid down tracks that sounded really creepy. There's actually a voice in going through the trailer that says "Let me out," because remember we're trapped in the hollow, so I thought that was appropriate. And Smurfberry came up with a cool idea that I really liked, which was if you get too far from the building or away from the hollow there, you get transported back to in front of the building, and a voice comes over saying "You'll never leave." I thought that was really cool. So we will be using that as well, just to keep the player trapped in the hollow until they solve whatever puzzle it is that I haven't worked out yet as to how to get out. I'm sure it'll come to me. We'll think of something. We'll think of some puzzles we can put through there, and to encourage the player, to help the player get out of the hollow. Hambone says, man, I'm done with working on my own engine. I'm definitely switching to Unity or Unreal, and I'm just going to focus on working on learning 3D. Designers are ruling it now. You're a talented programmer, dude. You shouldn't stop your programming stuff. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not saying you shouldn't do design stuff. You should. And concentrating on doing 3D, well, that's a good thing to be concentrating on. For sure. And as far as the engines go, Unity is a very good engine, and you guys know I love the Unreal Engine. They're very powerful. Unless you really want to make your own game engine, I would use an off-the-shelf third-party engine nowadays, because the amount of development that goes into these engines is phenomenal. You know, Epic Games alone have a team of programmers working on the Unreal Engine. And they've been iterating on it and developing it over decades now, so. Hambone says, already have a job as a programmer. Oh, well, there you go. Okay, well, it's good for something different then, Hambone. I can see why you wouldn't want to do programming in your spare time if you do it for a living. A friend of mine who's a programmer, software engineer, and a very good one, hates programming. He hates it. He's always bitching about how he hates his job. Like I said, he's a software engineer. He's a very good one. He's been doing it for like 20 years. But man, he says he really doesn't like doing it anymore. And I have to say, I mean, I can do some programming, but I wouldn't call myself a programmer. and I find it incredibly tedious. When I have to sit down and do programming, it is so tedious. And mentally draining as well, because you're constantly having to read through code. Andrew Lust says, I agree, 3D is life. That's right, I agree as well. Hambone says, yeah, I'm definitely going with third party going forward. I think it's a good idea. My job is okay. Well, yeah. Hambone says, I get to work from home though. Well, that's a plus. That's okay. It's all about as tedious as it gets. It is about as tedious as it gets. Yeah, I just find programming personally, when I have to do it, exhausting. Like having to concentrate on code, particularly if you're debugging code, man, does that do my head in. Particularly if you're debugging other people's code and they haven't commented their code properly, man, is that a nightmare. Whereas 3D here, 3D is, I consider it therapeutic. It's like, it's art. And it's fun. And I don't have to think too much. I mean, I have to think a little bit, but not like when you're doing coding. So I can understand why you want to do some 3D, and we all encourage everyone to do 3D because it's fun. I've told you it's fun. You can make some really cool stuff. 3D is love, 3D is life, Snappergirl says. The Hambone says, I would love to maybe in the distant future look into a career in 3D. I bet that would be so relaxing in comparison. Well, I've said to you guys before, if you know programming and you can do 3D, that puts you in a really, really good position as far as working for a studio goes, because you can then do technical art if you want. And technical artists are in demand because it's a very rare thing to have somebody who can use the left and right brain thing, who can be creative and can also program. Generally, people are one or the other. Occasionally, people are both, but it's rarer. So those sort of jobs, if you can do that sort of work, you're in demand. Studios will love you. They will love you. Hambone says, he just said it, therapeutic. It is therapeutic. Hambone says it's tough to get a job as a 3D artist. Well, there's a lot of people that want to do 3D. I'm not saying there aren't. As to whether it's tough or not, well, no, I would say not particularly, but you got to slog at it for a while and you got to learn your trade. But as long as you learn your trade and you do nice work, then I don't think it's hard to find work. There's always work for 3D people, always, and it's only getting more and more work as we get on, because society now is moving much more to a 3D world. Whether it's VR or AR or whatever it is, 3D work objects and stuff are much more in demand. Hambone says technical artists like shader artists. Technical artists depends on the studio, I guess, and their definition of it. But a technical artist is pretty much anyone that can program and do art at the same time. So you could be creating shaders. Like when I was technical artist, I was doing DirectX shaders, writing DirectX shaders and stuff. It could be working with Python to improve the studio's pipeline, maybe creating a utility or something to help speed up the pipeline for the studio in Python. It can be a multitude of things, really. So it's basically, though, any sort of programming combined with art. So, yeah. Edo says, studied for the game. Edo says, the job I have now is film. Film is cool, Edo. Film is cool. I used to work in film too. I liked working in film more than I liked working in games, I have to say. Simply because the churn and burn wasn't as real as it was in games. There's a lot of churn and burn in games. And the film industry was a little bit better than that. And the arts biz industry, which is what I work in now, is much better than both of them combined. You can distract me as much as you want, Hambone. Like I said to the guys, that's why I'm on Twitch. I love talking to you guys. That's what I enjoy about Twitch, is chatting to you guys. Job and film, Edo? Yes, what kind of films? ICMZ says toughest would be just doing one type of thing, like character, creature, artist is the most difficult, unless you're just really, really good. I get bored. I don't know about you guys, but I get bored very easily. I don't know what that says about my character. So I like to switch and change things up. Like, I do a lot of 3D work because I love doing 3D. But there are times I don't want to do some 3D work, so I like to do some web development stuff or some video editing stuff. I like to switch things up because otherwise I find I get bored very quickly and very easily. When I was a technical artist in the games industry, that's what I really liked about that job, was the fact that it was never boring. If I got bored with one thing, I could switch to doing something else. I've also been an environment artist in the games industry and film, which really required me just to concentrate on doing environment art, which was fine because I enjoyed that. That's what I call myself now. I'm an environment artist. But I found doing the technical artist stuff more interesting because I could vary it up, because I get bored otherwise. I find I get less bored now than I used to when I was younger, but I still get bored. Edo says, I can't tell you. Hambone says, cool. Android Lust says to Hambone, I would say you just need to become all about 3D and you'll get there. I would say that too, and as Android Lust says. Edo says, when the project is over, I can talk about it. Fair enough. Hambone says, I would be scared to work in games. You probably work like 80 hours a week. And you pretty much do. The games, like I said to you guys, the churn and burn in the games industry is real. It is real. Many times you're working incredibly long hours because you've got really tight deadlines. That's just the way the games industry is, I'm afraid. It doesn't need to be, but unfortunately, most times it is. And like I said, the film industry can be that way too, but it's not quite as bad as the games industry. Android Lust says, as long as there's progression. Hambone says, I like to make the occasional YouTube dev vlog and guitar video. Well, that's cool. Hambone says, also enjoy video editing. Yeah, I like video editing too. I never used to. When I was studying at uni, one semester we were doing video editing, and I hated it. I hated it so much. It's only now, after school, after I've done, all my uni stuff is all behind me. I actually really like video editing now, but I never used to. Maybe because I have to do it so much for YouTube and for Twitch and stuff, but I've grown more interested in it, and for work. I have to do a bit of video stuff for work as well. So I guess the more I've done it, the more I've enjoyed it. Sniper Girl says, I would love to work in games. Edo says, I'm really enjoying the film though. Cool. It's so chill. Well, that's cool. Edo says, I pretty much work whatever hours I want. That's the way to go. I'm not even I'm that carefree, I'm afraid. There are certain hours I really need to do. Even working from home, I have to make sure I do my hours, which I do anyway because I like what I do. So. Hambone says, also just seems incredible, Edo. We're in the golden age of film and TV. We certainly are. Edo says, I'm going to move to Canada eventually, and the industry is blowing up there. Hambone says, I tinker with some Vegas, Sony Vegas that is. Yes, Sony Vegas is another good program. I tend to use Adobe Premiere, but Vegas is just as good. And the reason I use Premiere is because it's part of the subscription that the studio takes out for all the other Adobe stuff. And Premiere is good software though, I'm not saying it's not. It is good. Or After Effects if you're doing that sort of work. Special effects stuff, After Effects is a good program for that. But if you're video editing, Premiere Pro is very good. Android Lost says, Twitter, you're right. Hambone says, I made a guitar video over the weekend. Cool. Android Lust says to Hambone, if you can program, video edit and 3D, you might as well make some animations and be your own sound guy. Or open your own... Pardon me. Or open your own business if you can do all those. Why make money for other people when you can be making it for yourself? All the bosses at work will be cringing hearing that. They'll be thinking, what's Phil saying? I'm not saying anything, guys, if you're watching at the studio. Nothing. I'm just making a comment. Hambone says, I should Android Lust. I could probably have a decent little YouTube channel. Hambone says, I would love to eventually fly solo. I started working on a new character, Ito says, just ahead so far. I see Smurper has popped some stuff on the Discord server. I see it going off here in the gallery section. And I haven't checked out the band yet. I must do that too, and I'm running out of time. Let me get this done. I'm going to try and ignore the chat for just for the next 10 minutes. So I can get this done and send it back to Max, and then we can check out the stuff on Discord. You know I can't not look at the chat. It's just ingrained into me now. But have you posted anything, Guido, on the Discord about the head, or are you waiting? If you don't want to post until you're finished, then that's cool, Guido. Hambone says, I'm going to try smaller 3D games for PC. Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. A lot of people want to make games, but they don't realise just how much work goes into making a game. My suggestion for people, if they do want to make a game, is keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. You've got a much better chance of actually making it that way. Don't get carried away with grand ideas about this huge sprawling game you want to make. Keep it simple, keep it small, and you've got a much better chance of actually finishing it and getting it released. And so I'm all for that, Hambone. You should do it. Chat exploded. No, you don't chat too much. No one chats too much. Like I said, I'm on Twitch to chat. I like the chat. That's, if you watch a streamer and they don't have a lot going on in chat, they're not as happy as when people are chatting, because they like chatting to people. As streamers, we like chatting to you. So never think you chat too much. I lost my place as to where I was. Okay, I'm up to here. So, I love to chat. All it means is it just takes me a bit longer to get my modelling stuff done. That's all. Sniper Girl says, personally would love to be my own boss, but want to be in studio list first and get exposure doing it professionally and learning from the pros. That's actually a really clever thing to do. My advice for people, if they want to make a game, is to work in a studio first, if you can. If you can't get a job in the studio, then you got no choice, I guess, you make a game. But working in a studio gives you, at least that's what I found, gives you a really interesting insight into the process of how games are made. And that's really important for when you want to make your own game. It'll give you a good understanding of what you need to do and when you need to do it and how you need to do it. So gaining that experience of working in a game studio is really valuable if you want to make your own game. That was partly one of the reasons why I went into games development, not because I wanted to make my own game particularly, but I was really interested to see the process that went on behind the scenes to actually have a game made, to get a game made. That and the fact that I've always been a gamer and I like gaming. So yeah, it is. It's a really good idea, Sniper Girl, to gain some behind the scenes knowledge of how these things are done. Ito says, the only thing I have is the priest guy. Will you post anything or don't post it? I'm not pressuring you, Ito. I don't want to pressure anyone to show their work. But please feel free to post in chat if you do want to. On the Discord, not in chat. Not unless you're a sub. In the gallery. The Hambone says, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep it simple. Yeah, do. That's the secret. Keep it simple. If you're going to make a game, and particularly if you don't have a big group of people to make it with, keep it simple. The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And you will succeed. At least you'll get it made. Um, yeah, on the Discord, Handbone says, I've seen smaller games do okay, 5k to 10k. Yeah, no, just because it's a small game doesn't mean it can't be successful. No, not at all. A small game can be just as successful. I mean, if we're talking, let's talk mobile games, which are about as simple as you can get, really. Angry Birds, that's a simple game, and that's been incredibly successful. Fruit Ninja, that's another mobile game which is very simple and has been incredibly successful. So just because it's a simple game doesn't mean it can't be successful. You don't have to have this AAA multi-million dollar, looking game for it to be successful. Ito says, and yeah, games is hard. I made a game in Unity for my thesis, did modeling, animation and coding. I was dying. Well, you know how hard it is because there's so much work that goes into making a game. It really is. Like I said yesterday, people don't appreciate how much work goes into making even a simple game. There's a lot of work. It's not a simple thing. And the general public who don't, just play games and don't really think about it, don't really understand that there's so much work that goes into it. Hambone says, games combine all forms of entertainment. They certainly do, and that's what I really love about games. What I love about games, as a games player, I love being transported to another world, more so than watching a movie, because I can go where I want to and look at what I want to in a games world. I'm not sort of like on rails in a movie. So you can, that suspension of reality, that you're sort of transported to this world. It can be a fantasy world, it can be a sci-fi world, whatever. I love that. And so to me, it's much more, it's about as entertaining as you can get, much more entertaining than watching a movie. The only way to be more entertained is to actually maybe go to an amusement park, maybe. So I love that about games. I love the fact you can create a world that doesn't exist, has never existed. That's what I like about 3D. And in playing a game, you can be transported into this world and go where you want, look at what you want. It's like, I don't know, it's magical. It's magical. I love it. That's why I play games. It is wild, Hambone. Film, art, design, music, sound. Do you still game? Yes, I do still game, Hambone. I don't get to game as much as I used to, unfortunately, because I got too much work to do. But I still do try and game as much as I can. As often as I can. And we've got the banging happening again, starting up. Oh, man. So annoying. Android Lust says to Ito, I'll pressure you. ICMZ says Candy Crush making billions. It does. Hambone says Angry Birds is worth over $1 billion. There you go. How simple are those games, and look how successful they've been. Look at Minecraft. Minecraft is a pretty simple game. Well, when I say simple, you know what I mean. But and that's made huge amounts of money. Microsoft bought Minecraft. So we're not talking mobile games, we're talking a PC game, but still. Sniper Girl says, you mean game dev is hard. Hambone says, making games is easier. It's not easier. He is joking because he knows it's not true. It's incredibly difficult making games. I'm almost back around to the beginning here, and once I've done this distressing along this bottom edge, I'm going to be jumping back into max so we can take this back in. Sniper Girl says, at least the banging is starting toward the end of the stream this time. Very true. I wish there was no banging, no. You know, we do live in a residential apartment block here. It's not industrial. There seems to be constant banging going on around here. Yesterday was a nightmare. So yeah, anyway, what can I do? That's what happens when you live next to a retail shopping district, I guess. You just gotta live with it. Doesn't stop me bitching about it though, don't worry. Smurfberry says all you have to do is lighten up the graphics on level 3. Smurfberry says I just realised that we hardly ever refer to them as numerical levels anymore. No, they're not. I guess not. Everything's a chapter now. Geez, how much further have I got to go around this thing? Where am I up to? Yeah. Okay. That's okay. We don't have to finish right on the dot of 12. I can extend the stream a little bit past so I can check out the work that you posted on Discord. I'm not so concerned with the inside edge of this bottom rail because it is right toward the base of the pond, so it's not really noticeable as much as the top rail is or was. I just remembered I have to go over and do the color grading on the gold as well. I like to change the dirt amount on the gold. I must do that before I send it back. So I'm just going to sort of speed through the rest of this bottom section. Okay, we're back at the beginning again, yay! Which is here. Alright. Smurfberry says it's no longer level 9, it's the Truth and Reconciliation or the Silent Cartographer. Smurfberry says maybe the growth of level-based RPG elements, as in your character level, had some terminology, ate that terminology. Now they're maps, chapters, or missions. Alright, let's add the dirt layer back. Now, this can be done quite quickly. I'm going to add a paint layer. I'm going to increase my brush size. And I'm just going to start bringing back some of the gold. So what I'm doing is removing some of the dirt. Again, I don't need to be too precious about this. In fact, it's better if you're not too precious about where you remove and add dirt to. It looks more natural. Just got to make sure I'm back to the beginning. Not quite. Okay, and we'll do the bottom one. I think we might be back at the beginning now. Now I just want to do the inside edge here. I might do the bottom while we do the top, it might make it quicker. Hambone says, I'm going to jump off, got to get some early sleep. No problem, Hambone. Thanks for popping in and being here. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. I'll be back on again next week. Monday is when I'm live at 5 p.m. Pacific. You have a good night's sleep. How are we going? Okay. We must be nearly back to the beginning again now, I think. I think we're back at the beginning. Cool. Again, I'm just making sure that I've got a couple of... making sure I've done the top of these sections as well. I don't know if you can hear that noise in the background going off again. You know, the funny thing is it only seems to happen when I'm streaming. Well, what are the odds of that? So annoying. Only when I stream. Well, not only. That's not true. I did do it the other day when I wasn't streaming, but... So I'm just doing this top edge here as well. Okay, let's do a save. And let's send this back over to Max so we can check it out. 37 new messages. What's going on? You guys on the Discord. Wow. Alright, let's send it back to Max. Hey Sniper Rico, good to see you, buddy. Sorry I didn't notice you. I'm doing well. How are you, buddy? Let's export this. Let me rename this texture first. I'm going to call this one Pond Rail. There we go. But it's good to see you, Sniper. Android Dust says, hey, Sniper. You're always late, as Android Dust says, but we know you're busy. Yeah, that's true. Better late than never, as we say. I'm going to leave this at 4K. I can knock it back later on, but 4K will be fine. Sniper says, yesterday was the third stream I missed since I started watching Phil. Well, there you go, because Sniper Echo, yes, you were my very first viewer. My very first viewer was Sniper Echo. Way, way, way back when. I'm just waiting for Max to catch up here. It just takes it a sec. Sniper says he forgot how to time zone. Again, let me just wait for Max. There we go. Let's pull in the DirectX shader. Let us load up. Let's change this first. We need it to be an interactive shader. Let's load up the normal map. Which will be what, I wonder. Just let me check that. What am I calling this? I'm calling this Tube 007. Well, that's not a great descriptor there, but that's okay. We can work with that. That's the one I want. Let's load in the normal map. So we're looking for Tube 7. There we go. I really should have renamed it something a bit more descriptive. Make sure I set the override here for the gamma. The color map. Actually, let me do that again. I want the normal map here. That's the one I want. Not the color map, the normal map. Now I want the color map. Now I want the metallic map. And finally the roughness map. Let's bring in the bitmap so I can see what the shader will be. Just a good reminder to me as to what that DirectX shader is, which is this one. We have it selected. We do. Let's assign the material. Now I'm just going to make a quick change here. I'm going to make it unique because I want to open up. I want to add a couple more lights so we can see it a little bit better. So we'll do the same thing. We'll take it from 1 light to 3. No, not 13. 3. There we go. Let's just export our shader. And we're going to call it Pond Rail. Did I not assign it? Doesn't look like I did. So let's assign the texture. And why are you not being assigned? Don't get burnt out. Sniper Echo says... I'm barely getting time to sleep these days, although I got 20 minutes out in the sun today. Yeah, well, don't get burnt out, Sniper Echo. That won't do you any good. You don't want to be burnt out. Don't do what I did and make yourself sick. Oh, of course, I haven't turned it on, so we need to use the... I always forget this. We need to use the normal map. I'm thinking, why is the texture not showing up? Use the color map, use the metallic map. And use the roughness map. And set the roughness there to and again, it's a color thing, I think. Let me just check this. Set that back to 0. I just want to make sure I'm doing an override. No, I'm not. So I must remember to override my gamma. I'm wondering what? I thought, what was going on there? Something doesn't look quite right. So override the gamma. Override the gamma. And that one's overridden already, so that's good. Okay, I'm just going to pull back here and look at this from a bit of a distance so I can just get a better overall look at the colour. That should work, I think, for what we want. I might just, when I come back on stream next week, I might just lighten the gold up a little bit. Just get into a position here where I can see it again. It might be okay. We'll see how we go. So we have our gold railings, and the good thing about that is, well, actually, we can't actually reuse the texture on these because it's a different texture, but we can reuse the same gold, which we'll be doing to the gold railings all the way around the outside, and that'll just help to bring some of the gold further out into to bring some of the gold from the middle out to the outside edges. Because like I said, it's a temple, we want lots of bling, so having a bit of gold is not a bad thing. Alrighty, let's do a quick save so we don't lose the work we've done. What are you guys talking about? Even the Irish don't burn that fast. You're going to try photogrammetry, a wooden fish we bought in Mexico, like 28 further. Sounds like a good idea. Mercury. I'm all for doing the photogrammetry, you guys know that. I just want to quickly check out some of the work that you guys have posted here on the Discord server before we finish up the stream. So while Max is saving out in the background there, I'm going to check out Sniper Girl's van. It's looking awesome, Sniper Girl, really awesome. I love the detailing here through the cow catcher. Love the detailing here on the wheel, and the van is looking amazing. Looks great. Mercury has posted a link of the tree trunk he's been doing, so let's check that out. Cool, nice. Again, nice photogrammetry work. It looks great. So this is the mesh that was 140 million polys or something. Like it's like nice detailing going on though. And if you want to check out more images, jump on the Discord server, guys and girls. Edo has posted. Oh, that's so cool. I'm just going to copy this link and check it out. This is the concept I think that Edo is working to, and this is the image that he's working on so far. The model, I should say, he's working on so far. In ZBrush. Nice model, it looks great. Yeah, it's very nice. I love the concept actually as well. The concept's really interesting. And you're doing a good job at mimicking the concept there, so again, very nice work. You were talking about that other model. ICMZ has posted an image here. Let's check that one out. Zoom in. Nice work as well. What are we looking at here? I'm just not sure what it is. Is it some sort of robot? ICMC, it's a mech. It's a mech. Okay, I thought it was a mech because I thought I noticed the head here. But I like to ask before I comment. Again, very nice work. I like the detailing you've got going on in the model here. And when you texture it up, it's going to look awesome. But as far as modeling goes, it's really nicely done. Nice work. This is another image by ICMZ. Showing his edge loops, which is nice and clean, nicely done. I like all of the nice chamfered edges, smooth edges you got going on. It's looking cool, very nice. Yeah, nice edge loops as well. Nice work. Good job. And Smoker is posting images to some stuff he's going to do some photogrammetry on in the Discord server. So I encourage you guys and girls to join the Discord server. Click that link I've just popped in Twitch chat, or at any time if you're watching the stream back on Friday or Saturday, you can join the Discord by clicking the blue graphic in my panels below my stream. I think we're going to leave it there for today though, guys and girls. I do want to thank you all very much though for hanging out with me and being here. I will be back on again on Monday next week at 5 PM Pacific time. That's when I'll be live. Yes, really nice work, as Sniper Echo says to all you guys and girls. You're all doing amazing work, and I love showing it on stream. So thank you for letting me do that as well. Yeah, so on Monday I'll be back live streaming at 5 PM Pacific in the United States. We can pick up where we left off here and continue texturing up our Temple of the Winds. You guys and girls have a great weekend though. And I will hopefully see you all on Monday next week. See you guys.